What double standard are you tired of? Politicians who come up with dumb to asinine laws and vigorously enforce them upon all of the regular citizens, but somehow find ways to exempt themselves from being subject to the same obligations to keep and follow them as we are. My principal taking days to read and reply to my emails, if ever, versus me being told at 8 in the morning that I should have known something because he sent me an email at 10 in the evening the night before. Reminds me of a power tripping boss. They know they're being unreasonable. They just enjoy the power trip they get by making you feel like you're incompetent. Don't let it bother you too much. It's just an evil little mind game narcissists love to play. Defending yourself. The fact that someone can be punished for defending themselves when no one else would, in my experience worse, is balls to me. Example: a former bullied kid that punched back and got screwed. Happened to my boyfriend several times in school. He got jumped, but when he hit back he got in trouble. Insanity. My boss dipping out on a Thursday afternoon to go get fricked up at the golf course, but I ask for one Friday off every few months and he's like, AAHHHCMON man, I need you to be a team player. Just do out. Frick telling the boss. Your boss getting angry if you're a couple minutes late but then expects you to have no problem regularly staying on 2+ hours after your shift is meant to end. Customers being able to verbally and sometimes physically assault workers while the worker just has to stand there and take it or they'll be fired. One time at a local grocery store, a clerk straight up told a shouty guy to frick off. Saw the same clerk a week later, was pretty impressed. I have to be exactly on time for an appointment or risk a fine and no appointment. Yet a doctor can make you wait hours sometimes without even a thank you for waiting or sorry about the wait. Especially when you are the first dang appointment of the day. Some people I know who are strongly against gender norms told me that I shouldn't have a say in my wedding since I'm a man, and that my fiancé alone makes the decisions. It was pretty FNG confusing. The Tinder attitude of impress me, and I have standards. Be funny, don't be boring. Meanwhile person is boring. Entertain me. Sorry, I haven't graduated from clown college yet. Star student athletes are nearly untouchable. If they make the school look good, the school will almost never take action against them. As evidenced by the fact that at my college, several of the football stars would literally just park wherever they wanted and never get towed ticketed. I'm not talking about things like parking in the faculty lot, or where you don't have a pass. I'm talking things like parking on the sidewalk in front of the student union, after driving over a curb and 20 feet of grass to get there. Basic laws not applying to people with money or power. I thought the US was based on an idea that nobody was above the law. Punished by a fine is legal for a price, and that's if they even get fined. How it's perfectly okay for a potential employer to ask your salary expectations even before an interview, but a candidate asking what the job pays is somehow a red flag for HR and a big no-no. Like, if all the employer cares about is what I will cost them before learning anything else about me, then I should be able to fricking ask too. But no, I'm branded as only caring about money, and you don't, you corporate prick. Consumers are expected to curb the use of their plastic waste and carbon by corporations and regulatory bodies alike, while Nestle will destroy a natural habitat to make bottled water in plastic bottles and dump the waste into your grandma's urn if it's affordable. People that say don't worry about what other people think, be yourself, but make judgments about people based on behavior they don't understand. If you don't understand something, ask about it, learn about it, talk about it to gain an understanding. I wish more value was placed on learning, understanding people's intentions versus what you see on the surface. And don't say things unless you really mean them. Rules for thee but not for me, as it applies to every facet of US politics, from insider trading, to nepotism, to tax dodging, and beyond. I am so done with the ruling class. Struggled with social interactions growing up. Half of my life was people telling me not to take things so personally. The other half was being told to conduct myself a certain way so I don't upset people. The "I'll just be yourself." Okay, not like that. I'm a teacher and called my wife smoking hot at a football game. My principal reprimanded me for it. I told the principal my wife calls me her smoking hot hubby to her class sometimes. She said it's different because it's perceived different when a girl says it. I've noticed that a lot. Objectifying men and sexualizing adolescent boys is seen as completely normal and fine. Apparently, politicians are allowed to disrespect the citizens of the country they serve, but it's frowned upon to tell a politician to go frick yourself to their face. Respect is respect, no matter if it wears a suit or what language it uses. My sister was allowed to abuse me from the time I was in kindergarten until I moved out of the house. She could basically say or do anything she wanted, but if I called her even a B, I was in serious trouble. I finally cut contact with her and told my parents exactly what led up to this. The double standard of allowing the sibling who was 6 years older to abuse the youngest kid who was also bullied at school. They always got angry at the bullies, but never my sister. She would always talk so big, but the moment you even threatened putting a hand on her, she would scream and ball up and it would be all our fault. God, I hate the freaking piece of crap, and I hope the next time I see her is at her funeral. Perfect example of why you can't hate family is completely stupid. Parenting double standards. The gender of the parent does not make the parent. Dads are not babysitting their children, they are parenting. This, also I've had to fight this in the kindergarten my child goes to, because all information, news, calls go only to my wife's phone. Even though for past years I've been the one who has brought and picked up the kid every day. Wife is working long days, but I'm remotely. I'm broke, frick, you get a job. I'm 22 million in debt, but it's okay. The frick? I once heard this. Oh, the bank $10,000, then you have a problem. Oh, the bank $10 million, then the bank has a problem. Me, a non-smoker, being told off for being 5 minutes late to work, while smokers spend 30 minutes at least a day on smoke breaks. I just wander off and have a cup of tea every time the smokers head off on a break. My boss did comment, so I told him I was addicted to caffeine, so had to. He didn't have an answer to that. I'm someone who has only dated men, and in every relationship I've had my partner has told me, 1. They've never really received so much casual affection before, and 2. It's amazing, please keep doing it. Scratch his beard, tell him he looks nice, smooch his forehead, damn it, men deserve affection and tenderness too. This. My wife is always complimenting me and showing me affection. Men need that crap just as much, if not more so. Once we get to a certain age we're thrown to the fricking wolves and the masculine world is red in tooth and claw. Other than mothers, partners are usually the only tenderness, affection, and emotional support men get in life. Anything where is the epitome of George Orwell's rules for thee but not for me. For example, COVID restrictions but not for politicians. Bosses not following their own rules. Police getting away with bending certain laws, etc. My grandma was on Facebook and laughing at this video. She decided to show me, and it was this woman exercising. She was running around, rubbing herself on men in public and stretching in front of them. My grandma said it was funny. I commented on how it was disgusting as these men looked super uncomfortable. Whether it was staged or not I don't know, but if it were a man doing this to women he would be charged with sexual assault and the comments would say how disgusting it was. My grandma even agreed that if it was a man doing it then it would be disgusting. After swim practice when I was 11 my friends pushed me out of the shower room and held the door closed when a bunch of older ladies were getting together for water aerobics. One of them was my teacher. They laughed and I just stood there naked pushing on a door. Nobody got in trouble. If they pushed a girl naked out of the locker room and held the door it'd be on the news. Things happened to me in locker rooms and I got in trouble for speaking about it. I know there's a lot of nuance, but the fact that crimes committed by the poor, like stealing someone's property, are relatively easy to prove and pursue, while crimes committed by the wealthy, like say, wage theft, go almost entirely unpunished, and are conveniently written in ways that make it fairly difficult to pursue. For a lot of crimes, as long as a rich guy doesn't freak up and say he's criming, then it can't be proven. Really, just in general, the ability to buy your way out of the criminal justice system in America if you have money, versus being utterly crushed if you don't. It's easier for a rich guilty man to go free than a poor innocent one. Prosecutors nowadays end over 90% of their cases as a plea deal because if you're poor the cost of waiting for justice can crush you. Sitting in jail for a month would destroy like half of America. You'd be evicted and jobless. Meanwhile if you're rich you can bail out and take your time. You aren't forced to take a deal just to feed your family. And then you get into the felons can't vote but are still counted on the rolls abuses. Pretty much everything about celebrities. That stupid Cinderella flash mob where they blocked LA traffic was the kind of thing they only got away with because they're celebrities. That's really just James Corden being an butthole, as usual. He definitely got permits and everything. Also James Corden advocating for paying late night writers less money. Just a crappy person. A lot of celebrities don't even live in LA anymore anyway. Lot of people live in Atlanta, the biggest filming spot now, or NYC. They're spreading around more due to the internet partially. In regards to the NFL, a head coach was fired because of racist and homophobic emails. He absolutely deserves to be fired. Absolutely. However, Deshaun Jackson openly said Hitler was right about Jews. Antonio Brown has multiple assault allegations against him. Richard Sherman has an assault case against him. Tyreek Hill has audio of him threatening his child and GF with violence, as well as beat the brakes off his college GF. And so much more. These men are still in the league. The double standard that I am sick of is that in the NFL for some reason words are treated way more harshly than actual physical violence. I love football and I'm a die-hard fan, but I truly dislike the double standard in the league today. Escape from an abusive partner and people congratulate you. Escape from an abusive parent who made your life heck for years and it's all. You should forgive them. What did you do to deserve that? But they're your mum. Tell stories of what they've done to you as an abusive partner and people are sympathetic. Then tell them it was your mum and suddenly it's your fault all over again or I should just forgive them. I don't see why I should have to keep putting myself into a bad situation because that person happens to share the same blood as me. I'm not in contact with any relatives. Ultra rich people getting to play fast and loose with paying their taxes, or lack thereof, through various loopholes, yet I get harassed for being a few dollars off and hardly get any credits or breaks whatsoever. I'm guilty of this one myself. I hate YouTube ads to death, but I am still watching the videos using their platform, and I am not willing to pay $10 a month, and I understand they need to somehow get compensated for all the work. Not really sick of it as I'm the dad, but if I bring my kid to school with messy hair or something, all the teachers are like, oh look at the dad, he's so cute. He even tried to do a ponytail and failed. My wife brings the kids to school a mess and they like, look at this lazy butt mom. A lot of Reddit moderators are reflections of the corruption we see in politics. There should really be a better standard for who and how communities, with members who join because they feel safe in their anonymity to share their ideas, are managed. Reddit needs a bicameral moderation system to hold moderators to the same standard and unable to abuse their power out of spite or bias. If you want to be a part of a community that intends to set the example for what's become outdated, a bicameral moderated, fair, just, and good community where all ideas, all backgrounds, all identities are encouraged and to respect others, whether their view disagrees or not, accept accountability without condemnation, have representation regardless of background, space for healthy discourse, and where people can share and access different perspectives and their criticisms and still feel safe in sharing their opinions and the necessary discomfort of learning, all of which without the big hand of moderation mitigating every interaction but the intention of actually advancing the human intellect, you know, the original American ideal. DM me for if this makes me a radical. Holy crap. I still don't understand why people are allowed to moderate more than 8-10 subs at the same time. There are a lot of double standards between the genders that need to die, many of which have been touched on in the thread, but I'll share one from quite literally a few days ago. I'm male and have a pretty good sized beard. At a social gathering the other day, a woman complimented it but then asked, do you ever let people stroke it? I replied that I did not, but then another woman spoke up with, well, why not? Isn't it flattering? Wouldn't you like the attention? Not at all hostile, just blatantly why not? To that I replied, how would you feel if someone walked up to you and said, oh, I love your hair. Can I run my fingers through it while miming making a stroking motion? She recoiled and said, "Of course not. That's super creepy," followed almost a second later by a round-eyed "Oh, ladies, gentlemen, if you don't want someone doing it to you, then why would you think it would be okay for you to do it to someone else?" Hey, at least she realized what she actually said. That part is skipped by a lot of people. Authority figures, whether bosses or managers or cops, who hold you to the strictest word of law, but they do whatever they want. Had a manager today come in at 8 when he hammered that everyone has to be in by 6:30, by fire or thunder. People not being allowed to record conversations that they are a part of, yet that's the only way to prove what was said. If you aren't by yourself, it's not private, it just enables corruption. Abuse. Johnny Depp was thrown to the wolves and blackballed by the movie industry off of allegations alone. Once it was proven that Amber Heard was actually the abuser, she still starred in the Snyder Cut and Aquaman 2. Political leaders can waste billions of taxpayer money, nothing happens. God forbid I don't report a $600 transaction to the IRS. Doctor's offices charging you a fee if you're 10-15 minutes late for an apt, or a fee when you cancel your apt within 24 hours. But you show up for your apt and literally wait anywhere from 15 minutes to 1.5 hours to be seen, and no one says a dang thing about you waiting excessively long. This just happened to me. Waited in 1.5 hours for a wellness apt. Give me a f***ing break. Body counts. It's ridiculous and horrible. If a woman sleeps with 100 guys, she's less. But if a guy does it, he is gay. Had me in first half. Men not being allowed to be feminine without being labeled as gay. I am gay, and the amount of times friends, family, and co-workers will point at a man being mildly effeminate and whisper, "I think he plays for your team," is nauseating. Like, dude, he's literally married to a woman and has kids. Just because he talks in a slightly higher pitch does not mean he wants the D. Same goes for people expecting a gay guy to be effeminate. I know plenty of gay guys with deep voices, some of whom dress like Budweiser dads. Maybe it's just me, but I've noticed that women are expected to be way more positive all the time. If I don't accept food I did not order, make even a mildly deprecating joke, or have a neutral face that isn't, I'm branded as being negative. Just because I'm not a ball of ultraviolet sunshine doesn't mean I'm severely depressed. Holy Christ. I'm a girl, but I am tired of people treating dads as less than moms. Dads can be 100% better than moms, but no one will care because no mother would hurt their kids. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.